Vinyl community just accepted a challenge. I guess it's more of a participation in a vinyl community love train set up on the web page. I'll post the link after. It's a Metal Connection. I advised Jamie, who I haven't met. I've only met online, and he's got a web page, which is the YouTube channel, Metal Connection, I believe it's called. I'll post the link. But I'm joined by my grandsons today because I don't have time to do a lot of this, so I'll try and be brief. We'll start with, what is it, VCLT. So let's start with V. And my main interest is typically hard rock, metal, but I like almost all genres of music, and that spans over many decades. I'm not 20 anymore. Back in the day, it would have been metal or nothing. But I like pretty much everything, with the exception of probably country. I don't like country. So I'll start with V. And I thought of this as being, the challenge, or I guess the idea is that it's the title of the album, not the band. So I could have gone with the first two by this band, because although it is the name of their band, it's also the name of their debut, and it's probably one of the biggest debuts of all time, and that's Van Halen. This is probably one of my favorites, personally, out of their entire catalog. And when I say their entire catalog, that really only includes the Roth era for me. I mean, I know there are people that are huge Sammy Hagar fans. That does not include me. Although I have to say I like his solo stuff, I like his stuff with Montrose. I mean, all that is amazing, but just didn't work for Van Halen and me. So this is V, start off with, on vinyl. Sticking with V, the next one has to be Volume 4, Sabbath. I like any Sabbath, some more than others, but definitely the Ozzy era is my favorite, followed closely by Dio. And there's a bit of a paradox here, because I like Born Again, with many people will associate him with Rainbow, or not Rainbow, Deep Purple, the Born Again album, that is. I'm getting a little off track there, but I love that album. But Volume 4, Sabbath, that's V. And then to go away from the metal a little bit, but Paul McCartney, Wings, Venus and Mars. Almost anything Paul McCartney does is amazing to me. All the Beatles stuff. But this is an awesome album. It's actually, if you've not heard of Wings, there may be people out there who haven't, believe it or not, but check them out. They're by no means metal. It's Paul McCartney, but he's amazing. Wings, yeah. It actually includes his wife, Linda McCartney, who is part of the Wings band. But then the other members kind of alternate a little bit with studio musicians coming and going, but primarily it's Paul McCartney's band, Wings. And that's what I've got on vinyl for V, but just a couple of quick on CD. I also have Them Crooked Vultures. It's basically a mishmash of, you could call it a super group. It's John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin, Dave Grohl. Yeah, I mean, it's a really good album. Scorpions, Virgin Killer. This is early catalog. I think it's like their 4th album, but it's still got Uli Roth in it, and it's a really good album. I like early Scorpions. In fact, anything after Love at First Sting, which I could have chose that in the L category as well, but I didn't, is where it ends for me. Then we go on to, what comes after the V?
C.
You got her. Right on. Way to go. C. So we'll start with C, and we'll go vinyl again. Starting off at C is not exactly metal either. Early Rush, Crest of Steel. This is where Rush really began to be Rush for me. I mean, the second album, Fly By Night, which was the first with part, is awesome. And Rush kind of goes in 2 album segments for me, at least early on. So this would have been, what came after this was 2112. This is kind of, you could see what was coming with this. Caress of Steel is amazing. That's C. What else we got for C? Another one that goes back a long way, and out of the metal realm, but really good. Nazareth, close enough for rock and roll. Really good old Nazareth album. I'm not going to say a whole lot about each album. It's getting too long. But anyway, that's under C. Nazareth, close enough for rock and roll. And then totally outside the realm of metal and kind of new wave, late 70s, early 80s. Robert Palmer, Clues. If you haven't heard it, check it out. I mean, music fans, you love this, I think anyway. It's actually got Gary Newman, known for Cars. He's on keyboards for the cover that Robert Palmer does of I Dream of Wires is on here, which is funny because that'll come up later in my tea. But anyway, great album. Looking for Clues. It's actually called Clues, but there's a title or a track on here, Looking for Clues. Robert Palmer, great album. And as far as, I got some CDs that are maybe, I don't know if they're obscure, but probably not as well known. But one of my favorite, more modern hard metal bands is Mastodon, Crack the Sky. This one is, I think, probably one of their best albums, at least that I've heard. I think I've heard them all. But yeah, this one is really good, Crack the Sky. It's an acquired taste. It's not for everybody, but hey, it's killer. And of course, this is probably the best lineup Megadeth had, in my opinion, and it's Countdown to Extinction. This is the one with Marty Friedman, and it's just really good Megadeth. If you like Megadeth, you're gonna like this, I'm sure. Sticking with C, early 90s. Yeah, this would have been early 90s. Candlebox, self-titled album, Candlebox, really good. I don't know if I would consider them metal, but they're certainly in that hard rock vein. Around the time of Soundgarden, all those early grunge bands. I mean, but these guys they stood out for me. I love them. They actually did a couple albums after that I like as well. But sticking with C, Candlebox. And I had to throw this one in because they were just huge at the time. And admittedly, I still like some of their stuff. I'll give it a spin once in a while. But it's Limp Bizkit. Chocolate Starfish and the hot dog flavored water. C. So that's Limp Bizkit. Yeah, what is that? Well, not yet, buddy, but no. So that's C. We'll move on to what comes after C. V, C. Do you know what comes after C?
L.
L. That's it. L. So you did hear me say before. Awesome, buddy. L. We'll go with something else that's not metal, but huge for its era. And I could have gone with another one of their albums for C as well, but this one is L. London Calling. Amazing album. If not for, I had 6 other siblings in my family growing up. If not for one of them, I probably wouldn't have been so inclined to include this, but I love it now. And funny enough, back then, like I said, I didn't like anything but metal, and this was something I wouldn't even consider, but since then I love it. This is a great album. I could have included Combat Rock for C, but London Calling by The Clash is L. And then of course another one that has to be included, that is a ship. That is what they call a Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin 1. So yeah, I mean, I just, love anything Zeppelin, so, and Robert Plant and on, Jimmy Page. But anyway, Zeppelin 1 for sure. Have to include that for L. Another one for L, which I like most of these guys' catalog up until a point. Again, probably their last one that I really kind of would even listen to on a regular basis would be Blow Up Your Video. So it's AC/DC, Let There Be Rock. This one is awesome, as are most of them. I prefer actually the Bon Scott era. Again, maybe the exception to many people's rule, but that's my personal taste. Is I like the Bon Scott era. Let There Be Rock. And another one that I like, and I kind of like almost everything by this guy as well, but this particular one, he looks like a boxer. This one is David Bowie. Let's Dance. And this one, actually, for those who don't know and you like blues and the guitar, before he was Stevie Ray Vaughan, this is Stevie Ray Vaughan. He's just a great guitar player that was relatively unknown at the time. but he's all over this. And if you listen to it, you'll hear it. It's just an amazing album. Very commercial, so I think a lot of people's ears kind of have been tuned out to it, but if you can take that component out of it, which is tough, but it's a great album nonetheless. And we'll pick out a few CDs for the L. Oh boy, I picked out quite a few, but I definitely have to include Love Tool, Lateralis. So this is a great band, great album. I like everything they've done. Some people are of the opinion that, oh man, that's like, you know, not metal. I don't care what it is, really. It's to me, I like it. And don't ever feel like you have to justify what you like. That's what music is for, right? You like it or you don't, and that's fine. But this, I love this. All their stuff.
Is that all black?
It's all black. You got it. And another one, probably fairly obscure. I don't know. I could have picked another one of theirs for the T, but this is for L. This is a band called Earshot. I think they were out of LA. Late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah, early 2000s. I've only got a couple of their releases. I think they only did 3, but I could be wrong on that. But Earshot, Letting Go. This is a really good one. And sticking with L, talking about Stevie Ray Vaughan and some blues and stuff like that. I'll get to some more of that after, but this is CDs. This kid, he was 16 years old when this was recorded, maybe even 15. He was a teenager. Johnny Lang, Lie to Me. This is really good blues, guitar-based rock. And if you haven't heard it, check it out. If you're so inclined to blues guitars, another kid around the same time, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, that kind of thing. Check it out. Awesome stuff. And of course, Guns N' Roses. Couldn't do a list. Well, I could, but I love Guns N' Roses and most of their stuff. And this is what they did after Appetite, kind of before their Use Your Illusion stuff, Lies, and some cover stuff. They did the Aerosmith cover on here and stuff. And there's some stuff that is not aged well on here, but of course it's got Patience on it, which is what everybody may know. Chris Cornell covered that. And that's me and Jima's song, actually, Patience.
What song?
Patience. I'll let you listen to it later. And then, of course, Eddie, that's right.
Eddie.
So, sticking for L, and I haven't received the vinyl yet. It's been on order since like August or September, but evidently it's coming. Anyway, Live After Death. It's their live album. It's probably one of the best live albums in the genre of metal for sure.
And totally rock and roll.
Totally rock and roll. Totally rock and roll. Like horns up, buddy. I mean, totally. It's Live After Death. It's has to be part of your live connection if you love. Along with Unleashed in the East by Priest, Scorpions. Anyway, I'm getting off topic, but anyway, Live After Death for sure. So we're moving on to
T.
Right, T. We're moving on to T, Willie.
And listen to it.
So we'll go back to a few vinyls and then we're done, yes. Now, I'm going to start with something that's not metal and maybe, I don't know, whatever. I love this album. I think my older brother, one of them, had this on 8-track back in the day. We're going back to the 70s for this one. But it's Gary Wright, The Dreamweaver. So, it starts with T. It's a great album, and it's not even for the tune that you may think that was so popular, The Dreamweaver. The entire album, I think, is really good. It's funk. I mean, rock funk. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's really, it's got some really good hooks in it. But I love it. Love Is Alive is a great tune on here. I think that was another popular one, but awesome. That's T. We're moving on to T. The next one is going to be some Canadian content since we live in Canada. Going back to the early 80s and their debut. It's the Headpins, Turn It Loud. Another great album. Brian Too Loud McLeod, Gone Too Soon. One of my favorite guitar players, actually. And I think this might have been the first band I saw live. I mean, I grew up in a small town in a small province, and there wasn't a lot of live acts. And I saw this with my older sister and her boyfriend at the time, and a good buddy of mine was along. Shout out Donnie Bia. Probably you'll never see this, but if you do, hey, I remember, man. Anyway, great album. Love it. Next, we're going back to some slowed down, bluesy, but rock, very early southern rock. ZZ Top, Tres Hombres, the three boys, the three brothers. Yeah, it's awesome. Good album if you like blues. This is probably one of my favorite blues rock, one of my favorite ZZ Tops. It's if you've only heard ZZ Top Eliminator, you've got to listen to some of their early stuff. Their first album, and it's just called their first album. They're all good as far as I'm concerned. Right up until even Afterburner, to a point, I can appreciate. Some of my buddies liked it. So, but that's T. What else we got? I was talking about Robert Palmer earlier, Clues, and he did a cover of Gary Newman tune and Telecon by Gary Newman. This has got I Dream of Wires on it, his version. He actually played in the Robert Palmer I Dream of Wires. He played the keyboards on it. I love Gary Newman. I like all his stuff, so it's obviously not metal. It's out of the realm of what would be anywhere considering metal. It's all electronic rock. I mean, new wave, early 80s, but love it nonetheless. Next this is one I wanted for a long time, isn't it, Aiden?
And he wanted this one for a long time, and actually the color is actually kind of cool.
It is kind of cool, and they're Japanese. So
Japanese.
Thunder in the East, Loudness. I had this way back in the day, and back in the day when peer-to-peer sharing included, recorded cassettes and giving it to your buddies. A couple of my buddies, I don't know which one, recorded this for me on a cassette, and I loved it. We played it nonstop. So I think this was their first album they recorded in English, actually, that broke in the U.S. And so, because they're a Japanese band, but excellent band. All their stuff actually is really good.
If you really wanted that, would that be your favorite one?
If I really want it, it's not my favorite one, but I really like it. So now we're going to switch to the CDs, and some of my favorite ones are in here. Well, at least one anyway. Too Fast for Love. Sticking with T's, Motley Crue, Too Fast for Love. It's the first Motley Crue album I owned, again on cassette. I think they were pretty obscure at the time, but they blew up pretty quick as soon as Shout at the Devil came out shortly after. But yeah, Motley Crue, Too Fast for Love. A bit of an homage there to the Rolling Stones Sticky Fingers album cover, but most people I'm sure know that. But if you haven't heard it, you should. Again, as far as Motley Crue goes, I don't care for much of their stuff after Shout at the Devil, funny enough. Theater of Pain, I can take it or leave it. Girls Go to Girls is a wash. And anything after Dr. Feelgood, no. Don't have much time for it. And then some power metal from the 80s, I guess you could call it. Yeah, The Pack is Back, Raven. I don't know if many people know Raven. I think a lot of people do, but I don't think they ever broke huge here. But really good. It's kind of cheesy rock metal, but and the lyrics are. It's just fun. You put it on, you don't pay much attention, and it's good rock. Good. I don't even know if it's metal, but yeah. The Pack is Back.
Are they in the underwear?
They're in some kind of outfit. And sticking with T, I'm almost done here. I'll wrap it up. The Right to Rock, Keel. Another kind of cheese, 80s, hairband metal. I borderline even to call them metal, but Keel for sure, The Right to Rock. And another one, I guess I did include another one by these guys. It's Earshot 2. Now sticking with the T's. I could have gone with a lot more. I didn't have a lot of time to put this video together, as you can see, so I just grabbed a few, and maybe it was longer than it needed to be, but I appreciate the invite to try it out. I've had an ambition to do something on YouTube for a while, so I did create a channel, but have not even produced my introductory video yet at all. It's just about sharing music, having fun, and again, shout out to Jamie, I think it's Wolanski, I hope I pronounced that right, at Metal Connection. Awesome. Thanks, man. Everybody have a good one.